Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Destiny video. Now, seeing as there have been a fair few rumours and leaks floating around lately with regards to the House of Wolves, level cap, new gear, potential release date, all that good stuff, I figured it was about time we dove back into the Destiny database and took a look at all of the exotics we can expect to see in the upcoming House of Wolves expansion. But, just before I get into that, if you've missed all the recent information surrounding the House of Wolves, then make sure you head over to the channel at the end of this video and check out my House of Wolves video because it covers everything you need to know from all the recent leaks. Anyway, with that aside, let's talk exotics. If you cast your mind back, you may remember before the Dark Below came out, the Destiny database received an update, and with the update, a load of new exotics surfaced. More specifically, these ones and these ones. I did a video on all of these just before the DLC launched, and at the time, we assumed these were all going to be available in the Dark Below. But, as it later transpired, only these ones on the left were actually intended for the Dark Below. You should already recognise these. From left to right, you have the Hunter, Titan and Warlock items, plus 3 weapons, and at the bottom, the PlayStation exclusive weapon. So, the question remains, what happened to the ones on the right? Well, as far as we know, these are slated to come with the House of Wolves DLC. Seeing as in the most recent leak, when we saw this screen, it listed that the House of Wolves comes with 3 new Crucible maps, 1 new strike, and 1 new raid. That sounds awfully similar, if not identical, to the size of the Dark Below. So, with that being said, if we assume that the House of Wolves will in some way, shape or form be similar in size and scope to the Dark Below, then the number of exotics on the right seems to line up. 3 pieces of gear for the Hunter, Titan and Warlock, and some weapons. True, right now there are only 2 weapons on the side, so as with anything pre-launch, Bungie could still choose to change this list, and you can be 99% sure they'll at least fill those last 2 slots with extra weapons, one of which will obviously be exclusive to PlayStation. So, with all of that in mind, I just want to give you guys a quick run through of all of these exotics so you can have an idea of what to expect when the House of Wolves drops. I know a lot of people have complained that most of the Dark Below exotics are, quite frankly, rubbish, so let's see if you like these any better. First up, let's start with the Hunter. The helm is the EXOTAC Angel Hunter, and this one is the only one right now that we appear to have a picture of. If you look at this image, apologies for the quality, I had to scale it up, but this is the key art for House of Wolves. And at the front is a Hunter with a helm that looks remarkably like the EXOTAC. Pretty cool. So what does it do? Well, the unique perk for this item, as it's currently listed in the database, is Angel Hunter, and it increases your weapon's accuracy for a short time after jumping. Now, I like this item because it looks cool, but that perk doesn't really sound that useful to me. Not when I can use the symbiote to get an extra bullet in my golden gun, or I can use Don't Touch Me to go invisible when I get hit. Either way, that's the helm. Then you have the gauntlets, which are quite frankly a bit of a weird thing to pronounce, but you have IKAHEKA'S hooks. The unique perk for these are Touch of Venom. Hitting an enemy with a melee attack while invisible deals additional damage over time. In other words, you kind of poison your enemy, hence Touch of Venom. Sounds kind of interesting, maybe that'll be handy in the new raid, who knows. And lastly, you have the Unremarkable Bones. These are boots, and the perk Not Bound by Law upgrades your double jump to a triple jump. So that would mean that Blade Dancers could have triple jump. Now while that's not strictly necessary, I would find that quite useful, and I do actually wish more exotics actually impacted nodes in your skill tree, kind of like how the Titan's Helm of Inmost Light does. Then, moving on to Titans, first up you have a helm, which, from the looks of the icon, looks pretty damn cool. This is the Eternal Warrior, and the perk Resolute provides Unstoppable for your Fist of Havoc. You then have the gauntlets, ACD 0 feedback fence, and the key perk Wrath Conductors deals damage to the area around you when you take melee damage. That could prove pretty useful, especially if you return to the Abyss and go up against all those Thrall, or in the new raid I imagine it will help you deal with those Vandals. And lastly you have the Peregrine Greaves. The perk for these, Peregrine Strike, makes your shoulder charge deal bonus damage if you activate it in the air. Now shoulder charge is already pretty OP, so this could prove to have some nasty results. Then for the Warlocks you have the Ram, which arguably looks like a white version of the Obsidian Mine, but the perk for this is the Ram Arises, which disorients enemies nearby if you activate Radiance from Death. So in other words, if you revive yourself and there are enemies nearby, it'll give you a chance to get away. Then you have some gauntlets, which from the look of them look remarkably like blue, almost arc versions of the Sunbreakers. These are called Nothing Manacles, and the key perk, the Cold Equation, grant you a shield if you kill using Void Light abilities. Then lastly you have another chest, Purifier Robes. The key perk, Burn Brighter, makes enemies you kill with ignite effects explode. So, those are the arm pieces. Then next up you have the 2 weapons. First one is the VESTA 347 Dynasty. This is a scout rifle, which has an interesting set of perks. The first ones you encounter in the tree come as a pair, and you can switch between them kind of like how you can switch between solar and arc elements with Murmur from the Dark Below. The perks are David and Goliath. Goliath will increase your armor stat for 15 seconds if you land a non-precision kill, whereas David will increase your agility stat for 15 seconds if you land a precision kill. Then the final perk on the tree is Life Support, where if you recover from near death, you are granted additional ammo and your reload speed is briefly increased. And then lastly, you have another shotgun, Lord of Wolves. This deals solo damage, and the perks are Hipfire, granting this weapon bonus accuracy if you fire from the hip, and Devil's Touch, where stacking rapid hits has a chance to set your targets on fire. Now this weapon is interesting. While there are still 2 slots that need filling and we don't know what they are yet, I'm going to assume that this weapon here would be the House of Wolves equivalent to the Vex Mythoclast and the Necrochasm. Now there are 2 reasons I'm going to say that. Firstly, because it's called Lord of Wolves, which seems like a fitting title for a weapon obtained from the leader of the Wolves, who would seem like a likely boss for the next raid. But also, if you look at the icon for the last perk, Devil's Touch, it looks like this. Then, if you look at the cover art again, maybe it's just me, but that icon looks a bit like the shape of that looming figure's head in the background. And as we know from the Dark Below artwork, the person in the background, that kind of big glowing green face, was obviously Crota, so I would imagine this person in the background is the final boss for House of Wolves, and given the similarity between the icon and the face, I'm going to say that this seems like a weapon you'd get from him. Obviously, that bit is just speculation, but either way, interesting nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know whether you agree with me on that one, or whether you think that a shotgun as like the kind of ultimate weapon, like the Vex Mythoclast equivalent, is a bit of a letdown. Either way, on that bombshell, that brings me to the end of this video. Again, it is worth noting that these items could change completely before the game comes out, but for the time being, they exist in the database and would seem to line up nicely with the House of Wolves. Make sure you show that thumbs up button some love and leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you're not already a valued member of the Arekkz Gaming Nation, then make sure you subscribe to join up and so you don't miss any of our daily gaming videos. Thanks again for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.